Bethnal Green, London East 2. Let's have a look at a typical week in the life of an East End family, the Gladdens. To EastEnders, a ducal mansion could not be a better place. To them, a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. To them, the familiar things are the frontiers of their world. Behind these frontiers, you find pleasure and you're free. It's Monday morning. Mrs. Gladden's coming home from Charing. She's mum to her 4 married daughters and sons-in-law, and all of them are living next to each other in the same street.
I'm back, Valerie.
That Monday was my first day as guest of the Gladden family. They didn't mind in the least talking about themselves and things in general, quite frankly, once they'd sized me up. Let's meet Mrs. Gladden's 4 married daughters. Violet is married to Johnny Patton. Johnny works at Billingsgate. Mrs. Gladden's second daughter, Lil, was sewing cowboy suits a mile away. Her third daughter, Eileen, overcoats, posh ones too, for the West End. And Nellie, the fourth one, was shopping. And Johnny apart, the remaining brothers-in-law. Sid Arnott is Lil's husband and deals in scrap. Eileen's husband, Bill Holt, at Spitalfields. He's not his own boss, but running sputs from Essex, tomatoes to Surrey, well, it's not a bad living. And Nellie's husband, Fred Davies. He's an expert in china vases and Savile Row suits. It was midday, and Grandad and Granny Gladden were looking after Bill Holt's son, Christopher.
Want a cup of tea, ma'am?
Not now, Arlie. Later on. Right.
Mrs. Gladden, do you like being surrounded by your family like this with your
Yes,
daughters
well,
always calling out?
Yes, well, I've had so many years now. I mean, they've always been there and I love them around with me.
Well, how do they come to be living almost next
Well,
door, right on the top of you?
The place was so very hard to get. The first one said, Mum, do you think that your landlord will give me a place? And I said, I'll ask him. And I asked him, and then it's been like eventually the old
They've all come
five
together.
out the 6 of them. I've got places for.
But don't you find it a bit awkward now and again? Because after all families have squabbles occasionally. Don't you get dragged into them?
No, I've never been yet, so I just don't take the note. I don't interfere with their business at all. I think to myself, well, they get over their troubles better without me.
But don't they bring
But
some of the troubles to you?
They do, but I just take the notice of them and just put them right and think to myself, well, you'll get over it. My son-in-law's come in and tell me some troubles about them. What do you think of Violet today? See, did you hear the start on me? I say, oh, John, you'll get over it. I say, yes, but Mum, you don't know what she is when she starts. I say, oh, you'll get over it. You'll be all right.
But you're careful not to take sides.
No, don't take no sides in it because I think they're both as bad as one another.
But occasionally you come
Takes
down
two to make a row, I always think.
you occasionally come down on somebody's side.
No, I don't think so. I just don't interfere, that's all.
I've heard a lot of jokes about mothers-in-law, but all your sons-in-law tell me you're absolutely wonderful.
They come in to me now and again and say, now, which is the best son-in-law now, do you think? Of course, it causes a joke. Well, when they come in here, sometimes they come in here, about 3 of them, and tea time of a Sunday, and we laugh here, and my husband tells me all the tales about years ago, and it's a scream here of a Sunday afternoon.
Well, now that all your daughters are grown, they're married and got children of their own, do they still come and ask your advice, or do they like to stand on their own feet?
No, they generally come to me, ask me. If any of the children are ill, they say, Mum, what would you do? I say, well, take them to the doctors or get them something like I used to. I said, I used to tell them I could never afford to go to doctors, so if they're not well, they give them a dose of Calcidol or something like that and they get over it.
Do you find a big difference in family life now from when you were young, bringing up all these youngsters?
I do, because, I mean, so years ago it's different to the children now. They seem to get more their own way now. They used to get their own way in a lot of things, but I used to get, like of a dinner time, and they'd come home to dinner. I used to get what I thought get, and they used to sit down and eat it. Well, now, sometimes they say, what would you like for dinner today? And I say, don't ask them, Violet, get it. They'll eat it. They say, no, they won't, Mum. I say, well, you shouldn't bring them up like that, should you? You should just get it like I used to. They'll eat it just the same.
So whose way is right, do you think?
Well, they think theirs are, I think mine is.
Hello, Mum. Give Sandra the key. I'll be home just after 5 from work.
All right, Lil, leave it there.
Hello, Bob.
Hello, Lil. Your mother and father have just been telling me what a wonderful family you are for sticking together.
Oh, yeah, we always stick together. I think we always will.
But you stick together when you get into trouble.
Oh, sure. Like last Easter time when we had a fire upstairs, I came home from work and all the living room was burnt out. I just looked at it and went in bars. I was choked. Anyway, the brother-in-law said, don't worry, girl, we'll see to it. So I said, all right, we'll have a day off tomorrow. Anyway, they said, no, you're not having no day off. You don't want no supervisors. We'll do it. I went off to work. When I came home at 5:30, I didn't even know the kitchen. It was smashing. New windows, new wallpaper. It was really lovely. Anyway, they'd even scrubbed out, as a matter of fact. And I think that was the first time I ever sent them all out to have a drink together.
Tuesday is Dustman's Day in Bethnal Green, and it's also the busiest day at Billingsgate for Johnny Patton. At home, the family flow in and out all day long like a welcome tide. At work, it's a tide of fish also, and a tide of faces, to all of which Johnny can give a Christian name. There's nothing cold or impersonal to anything Johnny does, from the moment he gets up to the moment he drops off to sleep. To him, this is a world of its own. The bowler walks past this world, ludicrous to Johnny, and ever so slightly menacing. Back home, Johnny's mother-in-law and sister-in-law Nell are out shopping. Shopping in Bethnal Green Road. Again, familiar faces and places. Fred and his pony have meanwhile been out and about for hours. Now, Fred's job is a trade, but it's also a study in human nature. And there are times when he doesn't know which comes uppermost.
All right.
It's 2 shillings, right, lady? Thanks very much.
Does your scales weigh £8 an ounce?
£half, if I say.
£half. Would you weigh the baby for me?
Yes, all right. Are you sure it's going to be safe like this?
You just get them through.
Is that all right like that? You
Up
sure?
to you now, yes. Understood.
It's £9.5, lady. All right?
Thank you very much.
Are you pleased?
Yes, lovely.
Good.
Johnny's son was home from school and taking over sentry duty to stop Christopher from running into the street.
Is Chrissy out there, John?
He's all right, Mum.
All right.
Johnny's sister Vicky was doing her homework in the back room. Television was on, but it wasn't her program.
And as for my own part, the lack of...
Johnny himself was having a regular Tuesday afternoon snooze after the morning's labours. The kettle was on duty. It's always on from dawn to bedtime in the Patton household.
Yes, well, I think it's exciting, but...
And across the backyard drifted the strains of rock and roll. After the scrapyard, the cowboy suits, and the telephone switchboard, the Arnott's had an evening in. Well, that's all for Tuesday. On Wednesday morning, Sid was off to his scrapyard.
Well, you got rags, son? Yeah. First of all, put them on the scalp. Take the handle off the top, makes it way heavier. Silly. Oh, you all right?
Yes, thanks.
We're going pictures now, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's it. Oh, no, enjoy yourself. Okay, shut up.
Are you busy like this every day of the week, Sid?
Well, Wednesdays and Thursdays are about the best times.
Why Wednesdays and Thursdays?
Well, you find people around here, they get a bit short and they fetch their rags in on that occasion. But they want to get their kiddies a couple of up with the pictures so they're putting their hand in the purse, because naturally they'll send the rags round.
Have you always been in this trade, rags and old iron?
Well, on and off for a good many years, but actually my trade is a French polisher.
But why did you leave French polishing?
Well, I got a bit fed up, it was getting a bit bad for me health, so I decided to have another go at this.
And you felt as though you'd like to be your own boss?
Well, everybody wants to be their own boss now and again.
Well, where do you sell your stuff to?
Well, we sort it and we sell it to bigger dealers than us, but then actually it finishes up in the Yorkshire and Lancashire mills, where they degrade it and make it up into new materials again.
Now, can you make a good living out of it?
Well, you can make a fair living. It's hard living, like in the cold weather, going out getting it, because I mean, you can't actually stand here all the time and wait for it. But as I say, you can manage to get by.
Where do you go for your holidays, by the way?
Well, the Isle of Sheppey, Brighton, or any other place. I've got a little van so I can run round.
And what do you reckon to spend on a holiday?
Well, 60, 65, 70 pounds.
What, a week?
Yes, certainly.
For 4 of you?
Yes. Well, we like our pleasures. We go and have a drink. We go and have our amusements. Kids get everything they want, so therefore, I mean, it's a cheap get out if you can get out for that.
And you have a good time?
Certainly.
Well, I think you've got another customer coming in, Sid.
Oh, yes, come on, put it on the scales. Oh, Sid. What have you got there? The old woman's stockings?
Oh, a bit of each. Have we? Here, look at that. Lovely.
Turn it in. Half a crown.
Right. I suppose so.
But it's a bit more than half a crown for Johnny's horses.
Johnny, I want the 1 o'clock, 1:30 and 3 o'clock. 10 bob favourite treble.
By nightfall, Violet was alone at home. Johnny and the rest were playing darts.
Everybody, quiet please, eyes on the ball, the first man's on the mark. Correct.
How'd you get?
$45. Correct. Quiet please now, eyes on the ball.
Well, anyway, he's out in his back garden and he started like cutting flowers with scissors. Look next door said, he said, I'll lend you a pair of shears. So he said, no, he said, me and my woman like to do things the hard way.
Now, none of the Gladden men are regular churchgoers, but to the Salvation Army, they take off their hats.
Do you like to taste this evening?
Certainly I do.
Thanks very much. God bless you. It is cold tonight, isn't it?
Yes, very cold. Cold on your rounds, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, never mind.
Hope you'll read it.
We always do.
That's a children's one,
Well,
really.
if we don't, the kids always read it.
Oh, that's good, Sid.
That'd do me, I can't read.
On Thursday, Eileen was off to work early in the morning.
Hello, darling. Come on then. Come see Mummy. Come see Vicky. Ta-da.
Under the spuds at Spitalfields, Bill Holt was working the beer of the darts match out of his system. But Bill doesn't feel life's all that much better nowadays. As long as Eileen is out working, yes, but otherwise, no.
Here you are, Bill. 40 for Jackson's, 40 for the LCC, then go straight on to Dunmo, pick a load up down there.
Okay, cheer up.
Carol and Mary, the two Gladden teenagers, are home. Mary has her own tape recorder. She does sop stuff.
Well, you can't get Tommy Steele on that, Mary.
No, I don't like Tommy Steele, though.
You don't like him, but you do
No.
like pops and dancing, don't you?
Oh, yeah, I go dancing a lot, you know, but don't like him.
Do you go up into the West End?
Yeah, I go to the West End now and again, back twice a week.
Well, it must cost you a bit of money going dancing.
No, it don't cost me a lot, because my boyfriend pays for it, you know.
Well, what do you do for money anyway, for your own needs? Are you working at the moment?
No, not at the moment. I was working up to about 2 weeks ago, but you know I didn't like it much there, so I left.
Well, how much did you get when you were working?
Well, I was earning £7 a week.
And how did you spend that £7?
I gave my mum £2 out of it, you know, and spent the rest on clothes, records and that.
What, and makeup and so on?
Mm.
Incidentally, you're not using lipstick, are you?
Oh no, I don't like lipstick. I think it's terrible.
Well, not many girls think that way. Have you got a steady boyfriend?
No, I don't go with him steady, you know. Well, I'm only 17.
Well, what do your mother and father say about you going out with boys at all?
Oh, they don't mind a bit, you know. They like me to have a good time and that.
You don't find them too strict?
No, up to a certain point they're strict, but...
In what way?
Well, they don't like, you know, let me stay out all night and things like that, but...
What time have you got to be in?
About 11:45 is the latest, you know.
But I suppose that if they know where you are, they don't mind.
Yeah, because sometimes, like when I go to parties, I phone them up and I can stay later.
Carol, do you think the same way as your cousin Mary about these sort of things?
Not really.
Well, what sort of differences of opinion do you have? For example, what about dancing? Do you go up into the West End dancing as Mary does?
No, I don't like it up the West End.
Why?
Well, I don't fit in with that sort of people.
But have you got a steady boyfriend yourself?
Oh yeah, I've been going with him for a year now.
Well, now, how old are you?
I'm 16.
Now, you're only 16. You've got a steady boyfriend. But Mary, who's 17, doesn't believe in having a steady boyfriend. Well, are you really serious about this?
Well, I should be. I've been with him long enough.
And you hope to get married someday?
Yeah, not yet though. Got to get engaged first.
And when you get married, do you propose to settle down here in Bethnal Green?
Well, I don't know. I'd like to immigrate.
Where to?
Australia.
Well, why do you want to go out to Australia?
Well, I don't know. My boyfriend's got some aunts out there and I like my kids to grow up in the fresh air.
Friday started just as the other days. Vi was cleaning up while I was waiting for Fred outside.
Just pull up a minute, Fred, will you? Well, this is a load of old junk, Fred.
Well, I think there's a day's work there.
Well, how did you start in this rag trade?
Well, I was out of work for about 3 weeks. No prospects. So I went down and borrowed 30 bob off the old lady. Got myself a barrel, near enough double my money in the first day.
Well, what do you do with all this stuff now?
Well, I run through it and sort out me woolens and sell them. They fetch me a few bob extra of the woolen stuff, see? The rag goes to the rag merchant. Find a bit of stuff for the home trade, like the Sunday morning market, a bit of decent clobber. And the rest, old trousers like this old pair here.
Well, where does that go?
Well, nobody in England will buy that pair. They're a bit too far gone for the English trade now, so it's all exported to the poor countries like Spain, Italy, places like that, Africa.
And is the stuff cleaned before you send it
It's
out
all
there?
cleaned and fumigated. I don't send it. It's all cleaned and fumigated.
But what about things like those vases? Who on earth's going to buy a pair of vases like that that look
This sort of
horrible?
stuff, yeah.
But can you
Take
find
that
anybody
down-
to buy it?
I take it down to the Sunday morning markets. The dealers come along down there. I might give you about 15 shillings for a pair like that. That'll either go to Sweden, America,
Old
the
English.
antique market. It's all old English stuff, and they think the world of it out there.
You must have had some rum experiences
You
on
know,
this
we
job.
meet some funny people sometimes. I met a lady about a month ago on the 4th floor of a block of flats, called me up, wanted to sell me her rubbish clothes. I've gone up, bought a clothing out of her, and who was in the room? Her husband, stretched out in the coffin.
Good heavens.
Yeah, we do meet life.
Saturday morning, it was the municipal baths for Johnny and his son. As for the rest of the family, they were all hard at it preparing for the weekend fun.
Want to see the rocket go? Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now watch. 3, 2, 1, 0. Oh!
By the afternoon, the great get-together was underway.
I won't be a minute, bye.
Wolverhampton Wanderers 1, West Bromwich Albion 1. Division 2. Barnsley 3, Grimsby Town 3.
By nightfall, the children were marshalled together to be looked after by Sandra, aged 13. But with the telly on, the kids were as good as gold.
What's my line?
The men, as by an age-old ritual, moved off to the pub by themselves, to be followed by the ladies a few minutes later.
Don't get temporary mate, Thomas.
Ladies and gentlemen, please. Before I announce tonight's entertainment, I'd like to announce tomorrow night evening we have Brownie Dean here tomorrow night. Sabrina has got nothing on Brownie Dean, so I hope you all come along tomorrow night to see Brownie Dean. So to start the entertainment, I'm going to call our old favourites, Siddy and Johnny, to come along and do their little double act. Come on, John. Siddy, come along, John. Come along, Sid. Come on, John. Come on. Come, have a go. Have a go. Come on. Give him a hand, ladies and gentlemen. Give him a hand. Big hand, Siddy and Johnny.
Ebenezer Johnson kept a grocery store. He had a little lady that he used to adore. Around that girl she'd come every afternoon. In that small back parlor they sit and spoon. He would entertain her in a loving-like way. But here is the mystery. Although he hadn't taken any money all day, the moment that she climbed upon his knee, see, somebody would shout out sharp. Somebody would shout out sharp. Just as he was kissing Mabel, giving her a squeeze, or somebody would come in for a quarter of cheese. But just as he was getting down on the jump, or somebody would come in for a change of the bump. Whoa, gee, it made him feel so funny, he clean forgets to take the money back. He goes again and tries to cuddle his honey, but somebody would shout out, shop, 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 shop. Somebody would shout out, shop.
Sunday morning, of course, you'd expect the men to be asleep. Not a bit of it. Sunday morning at 8 o'clock, you can pick up the odd nicker, the odd pound or two down the lane. This is where Sid and Fred and sometimes Johnny and Bill sell the second-hand stuff that's too good to go to the mills or too good to be exported to Spain and Italy.
Shilling the pair them days.
Yeah, we've got that.
That's all right then. Well, there you go.
A bit later in the day, Johnny was off on his weekly game of golf. His partner was Sam Oakin, the landlord of his local, and the cost? 7 and 6pence, all found. Back home, Johnny's boy was out too. And indoors, only the best was good enough for Sunday. Budgie was happy, Johnny back from golf, and the fruit bought yesterday practically all gone.
Wouldn't you like a nice little house of your own?
Johnny, turn that gram off. Can't hear yourself speaking here.
Doesn't that sort of life appeal to you at all?
But buy my own house? No, I should think not. I see those bank clerks, middle class I call them, £15 a week, all worry. No, I don't think that life would suit me.
Well, what's your idea of life?
Of life, I'd like to build my life around me pleasures. I go to work, I don't think about work, I just do me work, but I'm thinking of me pleasures all the time. My dart match, what I'm going to do at the weekend, me little bit of golfing or football. I'd like to build my life around that.
Well, Johnny, you talked about those bank clerks looking worried. Probably they're thinking of the future, their old age and so on. Don't you ever have those sort of worries?
No, I just worry about today. And let tomorrow come, just go to work, do me work, and enjoy myself for that day.
And are all your pals the same?
Yes, all the same, all the same.
Well, why, Johnny's been talking as though he's the only one concerned, but what about you?
Yeah, well, I think it is a man's world myself, because, he goes to the dart match on Wednesday, Friday he goes over the Cornwallis, Saturday morning over the Cornwallis, and then again Sunday, and Sunday morning, Sunday night.
And what do you do?
Oh, I just, I could go over there, but, it don't really appeal to me, drinking sort of thing. I'd sooner stay with the children and get them bathed and ready for the next day.
And are you content with that?
Well, not really, but you can't do much else about it, sort of.
Well, Johnny, what do you think about that?
Well, I think about that. She's not so silly as she looks.
Well, you're your own boss, but what about security?
No, I earn a wage, but if I want to earn £1 extra, £2 extra, I go and help my brother-in-law in his iron yard or anything. Help a friend on a potato stall. That's what I mean with these middle-class people. They've just got their job. They go home, do their gardening. I think they'd be too proud to earn an extra few shillings, like I would. I'd put myself out anywhere, do anything for £1.
But what about next year, for example, or when you're 65?
No. I just, as I explained to you, I just worry about today or the week, and that's all. Let tomorrow come.
And that's your idea of life?
Yes, definitely.
You wouldn't like to change it at all?
I wouldn't change with anybody.
The week was coming to an end. What with the blowout on Saturday, everyone was keeping himself quiet. Vi was just getting the money together for the rent collector who calls on Monday. For Johnny, it was early to bed. Ready for Billingsgate at 5 in the morning. In about a year's time, all the Gladdens hoped to move to new council flats in the neighbourhood. They hope to move together. They don't expect to alter their way of life. They feel freer than most people. That's how they like it. That's how they want it from now to kingdom come.